Here with reaction, former presidential candidate himself, Vivek Ramaswamy, is with us. So I've said this after the State of the Union address, and I've been pointing this out, and it's becoming more evident every day. Joe Biden needs to shore up his base. That is not a problem that Donald Trump seems to be having. They're coming out in droves for Donald Trump. Now, that also, in my mind, well, that's an opportunity for Donald Trump, because now he has an opportunity to say, OK, this is what I did in the 4 years I was president. How are things working out under Joe Biden? Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Don't listen to the demagoguery of the left. How are your families doing? Do you feel safe and secure? How are your schools doing? You know, how are things when you go to the grocery store? Basic things. Your thoughts?
Well, look, this is the first time in over a century that American voters have had this opportunity to compare two 4-year back-to-back records. You have 4 years of Biden, 4 years of Trump. Vote accordingly. Which one actually served you better? And that should spell a landslide election. I think that's possible this year, Sean, in a way we haven't seen since Ronald Reagan in 1980 and in 1984. That's the opportunity that Donald Trump has, and I believe will deliver this year, which will unite this country. And, you know, you talked about the black and Hispanic voters swinging in Trump's direction. That makes a lot of sense, because just like voters of any skin color, people understand over 4 years of Biden, prices are up, but wages have remained flat. Over 4 years of Biden, we have open border policies that don't please Hispanic Americans or black Americans. They're every bit as badly affected by that open southern border as every other American as well. So this is the opportunity, I think, of a generation for the Republican Party to stand for our shared national values. And that's the opportunity that I think Donald Trump is going to deliver on this November, and dare I say it, reunite this country. And that's what I'm rooting for.
Isn't that why they have to take out of context something like the bloodbath comment? It was clear the president was talking about the automobile industry. There's no ambiguity at all. If anybody has an ounce of intellectual honesty in them, seriously. But that's what they want to talk about. They will demagogue abortion. That's what they want to talk about. They'll January 6th the country to death, democracy in peril, while they themselves try to allow Democratic officials to kick people off the ballot for something they've never been accused of, let alone convicted of. So to me, the one thing they don't want to talk about is, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Because there's no good answer for them.
Well, it's up to us to talk about it instead then, Sean. But I'll tell you this about the mainstream media. People in this country understand that they have been lied to. Back in 2016 and in 2020, it was a different story. But you know what? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. That's what most Americans know. And I think now more than ever, there's an opportunity for those in the mainstream left-wing media, if just one of them had the courage to look their audience in the eye and just tell them at home, we lied to you. We're sorry about it. Here's how we're going to change that, about the truth of what really happened, about the Russia collusion hoax that never was, the origin of COVID-19 that we lied to you on, the Hunter Biden laptop on the eve of the last election. We systematically lied to you, and we apologize for it. Yet not one of them has done it. And if they do, I think that whether it's the New York Times or MSNBC or any other institution, it will rebuild trust in this country. But I'm not holding my breath for that, Sean. And so, yes, it's up to us to speak the truth, speak it unapologetically. People across this country, black or white, man or woman, and even Democrat or Republican, are starving for that. That's what Donald Trump and our America First movement is going to deliver. And I think that's how we're going to unite this country and get our country back.
If there's one advantage, I would argue that Democrats have heading into this election, and I give a lot of credit to Laura Trump and what she has said on this program and where she is going to focus a lot of her energy. It's going to be on partisan observers, especially in key swing states, in every precinct, watching voting all day, vote counting all night. They're focusing their efforts on getting Republicans and conservatives over the reluctance, the resistance to vote early and vote by mail. And they're also finally going to start an effort of legal ballot harvesting that the Democratic Party, I mean, they run rings around the Republican Party on this one issue alone, which I think gives them a huge advantage. If it comes down to another year where maybe 6, 7 states and a couple of 100,000 votes will make all the difference, that is a big deal. Do you have confidence that they'll be able to pull that off in the short time they have?
I have confidence that whatever is necessary is possible, and it is indeed necessary. And to every conservative who's at home, I'm with you. I want, and we will get to single-day voting on Election Day as a national holiday with paper ballots, government ID, English as the sole language that appears on a ballot. We will get there. But in order to get there, we have to win elections first. And that means playing within the rules that are given to the fullest extent possible. That's what we need to do. And so we got to separate those two questions, Sean. We know what the true destination is: true election integrity, true actual national unity with Election Day as a single voting day. But until we get there, we have to play by the rules as they exist to compete and win. And let's be honest, it's been a little while since we as a Republican Party have managed to do that. I think the new leadership is so far doing a great job, and I think we need to go further in that direction to compete and win to get to the promised land. And I think we're going to do both of those things this time around.
I think if I were to offer one piece of advice, to just objectively, to Biden, I would say, get out of the race. You're not ready to go another 4 years. Advice I'd give to Donald Trump, I would say, look at these poll numbers, look at the demographics of the Democratic Party. Their base is eroding. That is an opportunity. And I would go out of my way to go into areas of the country where maybe Republicans have kind of given up on, and say, will you please take a look at us? Will you please look at what our plans are? Will you please look at how bad things are under Joe Biden, and we can do so much better? What would you tell both candidates?
Look, I think that second piece of advice is outstanding. This should be a multi-ethnic working class coalition that completely remixes what the pundits think the Republican versus Democrat Party really is. I can tell you first, personally, Sean, I plan to spend time in inner cities in swing states for the remainder of this year. And I think many other Republicans will and should join me in doing so. And I have full confidence that Donald Trump, above all, will be reaching those people from rural communities to the inner cities. Now, as it comes to your advice for Joe Biden, my concern is he might actually just follow your advice. And it may not be even Joe Biden that we're actually running against. But regardless of which puppet the Democrats put up, if we stand for our own values, say this is who we are, as Republicans, as conservatives, as Americans, these are the values that unite us, show up in the inner city to farm communities across this country, then it doesn't matter who they put up. We still have an ability to win decisively in a landslide. And I think that's what it's going to take to get this country back. And I have full confidence that Donald Trump will be the man to deliver that this November. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure traveling this country and whatever it takes, as every Republican leader should, this is our moment to do it. It's our 1776 moment in this country. And just as our founding fathers made that sacrifice 250 years ago, we don't want to see Alexander Hamilton and George Washington. They ask us, what did you do for your country? We better have a darn good answer, and this is our year to deliver it.
All right, Vivek Ramaswamy, inspiring message. Thank you, sir.